The much maligned Towson defense that last year ranked 10th in the Colonial Athletic Association will enter Saturday's game against number 18 Villanova, having just allowed 15.7 points per game. They rank number 3 in the FCS in turnover margin at 2.33, and they rank number 1 in all the land with 7 interceptions. And that's where I want to start. Part of our training camp trip this summer, we went to Towson. Great people. Loved Coach Ambrose. Shout out to my man Dave Vatz. They took great care of us. And in turn, we took great care of them. But one of the things we didn't really do was really lean into their defense much. We talked to my man Tebow, but that was about the extent of it. For the most part, we really just hung out with Flacco and with Simpson and with Leatherbury. And we really pumped up the offense. And rightfully so. But the D is going to... They're going to have something to say on Saturday. They had something to say at Maine. What they are doing is something that the players told us was going to happen, but if I'm being very honest, I'm not sure that I believed them. So I look, the key to victory last week at Maine was limiting Chris Ferguson down the stretch in what was a tight game. They end up pulling away because Ferguson is unable to do much of anything. And this is a kid who threw for 400 first half yards 2 weeks ago, and they ruined his night at home under the lights. Very impressed with Towson's defense. I would love to hear your thoughts.
I mean, I'm with you. You see them as an offensive powerhouse. So kind of like you said, you can win games by scoring 40+, and the defense becomes an afterthought. But, I mean, did they even give up – how many points did they give up in the second half of the last game against Maine?
Did they give up any? I don't know. Not many.
I don't think it was any. Or maybe not. Yeah. So, regardless, that's trending the right direction. And they're going to need that, especially with the running game kind of being hurt.
Yeah, that's I was sure. I mean, they're going to have to really step up. Everything running back Shane Simpson being out is about as big a blow as a team could have to deal with. And that's easily my least favorite development of the week. I love Shane, and I mean, again, the kid's a baller. Him being out doesn't just hurt them on the ground. It very obviously hurts them on the ground, but it also hurts them in the passing game because, as I think I've now pointed out ad nauseum, Shane Simpson is as good a receiver out of the backfield as you will find in college football. And I don't mean in the FCS, I mean in college football. Yeah. So not having him there hurts in the passing game, but even more concerning in my opinion, and I alluded to this a bit earlier, is the onus it puts on Flacco to need to be a runner now. And he's more than capable. I mean, Tom Flacco can run the football. That has been well demonstrated by him. He ended up leading Towson in rushing last week, and that's fine. But you're putting him in a position where winning a game may force you to put the primary piece that is going to allow your team to compete for a championship in peril. And I just don't think that you want to expose him that way. I just don't know that they're always going to have the option of keeping him safe without Simpson. I think you're going to have to lean on Flacco in a running game a little bit. But all that being said, Rob Ambrose is about as good as it gets when it comes to having the pulse of his team. The offense is still loaded with skill guys at the perimeter. Flacco's Flacco. So I think Towson's going to be all right, particularly if their defense keeps taking the ball away the way that it has lately. Still sucks seeing Shane go out for the year, though, and there's really no way to sugarcoat that.
No. So, I mean, just like you said before when we were talking about Notre Dame, like a lot of times when your quarterback is leading your team in rushing, that's not a good sign. And like you said, Simpson catches the ball out of the backfield incredibly well. I think it's going to hurt also if their run game isn't as potent. Flacco actually they haven't had a passing completion longer than 40 yards yet, and if they still are going to struggle to open it up like that, I think that could really limit their offense.
I think that's good.
And allow Nova to keep everything in front of them. But it's gonna.
Yeah, I mean, look, Simpson's a guy that you have to respect to the extent that you feel like you have to stack the box. Right. Now is there a home run hitter in the backfield? I don't know. There's not. Shane Simpson is not in that backfield. Right. There's not. I mean, and that's not even. That's no disrespect to anybody on that team in that running back room. Simpson is just a special player.
Agreed.
And they don't grow on trees like that. Their opponent this week, Villanova, is a team to enter 2019 unranked and without really any outside expectation for success. And all they've done so far is blow everyone out that they've played. 20-point victory at Colgate in week 0 that I was so impressed by is actually the tightest game they played this year.
Yeah, I mean, love a good feel-good story. They said they were forecasted to finish ninth.
I don't know. They were down there.
Yeah.
Nobody was thinking much of Villanova.
Yeah.
And Villanova knew it.
And now
by
you
the
have
way.
a ranked matchup.
They knew that. That was very present in their minds. They made that very clear on social media, and I ate it up. I love that.
That's awesome.
Got a chip on your shoulder. Justin Covington is a star. He rushed for 263 yards all of last season. He has 362 yards on better than 10 yards per carry this year. So, I mean, it's two totally different running games with Towson and Nova now, because Towson's going to be leaning on multiple characters. Nova's going to hand that thing off to Covington. I know it. Towson knows it. Villanova knows it. Everybody knows it, and it doesn't matter because Covington is that good of a runner.
Yeah, and that is so big for Nova to keep Flacco off the field. So if they can control the clock, I think that's big for them.
Absolutely.
And Nova's defense is starting to look fun too.
They are.
2 pick sixes for that linebacker, Amos. That is
Famous Amos.
Famous Amos.
Yeah, man.
Oh, has that already been a thing?
Well, I made it up earlier in the week. I made it a thing.
Okay.
I
T-shirt.
personally made that a thing. I don't know if it was a thing before, but if it was, it didn't count until now. Now it's a thing.
Yeah, well, that is awesome.
Yeah, he's a baller. Nova's got dudes all over the field.
Yeah.
They were kind of criminally underrated coming into the season, but there's just a lot of depth in the CAA. I mean, being ranked that low in the league is not so much an indictment on Nova as it's just a credit to the league and how deep it is. And it's still deep. Half dozen teams in the top 25, that leads the country for any league. It just so happens that Nova's in that top 6, and people didn't necessarily see it that way. And they're not just in the top 6. I mean, Towson's going to get all they want from Villanova on Saturday. And Towson right now, number 5 team in the country. So Nova, a road win there would be massive for them. Probably jump them into the top 10.
Absolutely.
And it's a really tough spot for the Tigers, too, being sandwiched in between the road win at Maine, which was no doubt emotional. Then also you lose one of the heart and soul of your team in Shane Simpson. And next week you got a road trip to Florida. And in between that, you've got Villanova coming to town in a game that maybe didn't look that big when you're looking at the schedule before the year. But now it's a big deal. So Towson's going to black out. They're giving away 1,000 black T-shirts.
I love it.
I asked my friends at Towson for one yesterday. I'm not afraid to ask for free handouts. I don't know if I'll actually get it or not, but if I don't, I'll be very disappointed. And they're going to try to black it out, get the fans excited. But again, man, if Covington is able to get it going on the ground and they can keep that offense off the field, take the air out of Towson a little bit, that's really the path to the upset for Villanova. And at that point, it's anybody's ball game. So that game, live on FloFootball, and that is far from the only CAA game that will be live on Flo on Saturday. We also have Rhode Island and New Hampshire live on Flo, Lafayette against the University of Albany, UAlbany, the Great Danes. That is live on Flo. Penn at Delaware. Delaware's looking for a little bounce back after North Dakota State came in there and did what they did. And Fordham against Stony Brook as well, live on Flo. And I believe that is it for the CAA action. But yeah, man, a handful of really good CAA games coming your way yet again this Saturday, like we do every Saturday. And speaking of Delaware, I do want to give a shout out to everybody at the University of Delaware. We just had a really good trip, man. We got to be around their guys who were all really impressive guys, and got some great interviews done. Got to see a different side of some players that you don't always normally get to see. Their SID Scott Day is one of my favorites. Really enjoyed his company, and he rolled out the red carpet for us. So, special thanks to Delaware for letting us come out and do that. We're looking forward to coming back. They got big renovation projects going on out there, so it's going to look like a whole lot different.
Really?
Yeah, oh yeah, man. There's an interview up on FloFootball right now with their athletic director that I highly recommend that you check out, because they are about to turn that place into a little palace on the eastern seaboard out there.
That's awesome.
So yeah, check that out. Yeah, and I think that pretty much does it for Colonial time this week. Special thanks to Michael Gunter for pinch hitting for our man Kyle Brackey.
Dude, thank you for having me.
We'll be back with more. We'll be back with more. No worries. And yeah, so tune into that Nova-Towson game. We'll talk about that next week. Almost forgot. Plot twist. SJ Brown from Towson was kind enough to give me a little bit of his time yesterday, and far be it for me to leave the interview out because I made a mistake and forgot to put that in the notes here. So, without further ado, SJ Brown, CAA Defensive Player of the Week, with me yesterday. My man, SJ Brown, first of all, thank you for taking some time out after practice to hop on here and do an interview, man.
Yeah, no problem.
Big week for you. Obviously, Defensive Player of the Week and all, and we'll get to that. But when you come into the season and all we're talking about is the offense, and rightfully so, you're talking about Tom, talking about Shane, talking about the other Shane, talking about all the guys on the offensive side of the ball, but we didn't really talk a whole lot about your defense. Did you guys feel that slight?
Yeah, we didn't take it truly to heart because we really just main goal at the end of the day is to get a W. But we all working as a group out here, and everybody just feeds off the energy. So we all get better each and every day when we compete against the offense, knowing that they're really good, and it just makes us better.
Well, yeah, no question. It doesn't hurt to go up against an offense like that in practice, but you guys have been doing things against your opponent that I don't think a lot of people saw coming, and it's not just the scoring defense, which ranks 10th in the country, but also the way you guys have been taking the ball away. I mean, number 1 in picks, number 3 in turnover margin. What is the mentality of your defense that has allowed you guys to be ball hawks the way that you have early on?
Our mentality as a group is all in, and we really just have a goal set. And every single game, we stress that we want to create three turnovers a game, and we fell short last week. We needed one more, so this week we just upped the standard, and we really just like to fly around out there and play for each other.
No doubt. Can you point to a thing or two outside of just you coming over from Sierra College that has allowed the secondary to flourish the way it has?
Yeah, definitely. We just have a senior corner, like as far as like players or like.
You tell me. Whatever's working, it's working. Whatever it is.
Well, just our scheme in general. There's a reason that for everything that we do, there's no gray area in any of our coverages or schematically. So, it's a good understanding. So when you're watching film, you understand like why something is happening. And basically, we just have a bunch of ball hawks on the field. Like every single person out there.
The other night.
And the coaches prepared us really well for that game, and as far as communicating out there, we stressed that a lot. Communicate, can't over communicate. Same page is crazy what we could really do as a group.
Saturday, as you lose a guy like Shane Simpson at running back, and obviously you're not on that side of the ball. I mean, how do you guys anticipate working together as a group, both offensively and defensively, to cover for that loss?
Yeah, definitely praying for him. Man, that's a tough loss there. But that's a tough loss. But at the end of the day, it's just next man up. And we really, as a group, we feel like we have the ability to take on those struggles and take on obstacles in a way to get over those humps. But we have to definitely up our bar, raise our game as a whole. Because missing a guy like that who can make anything happen on special teams and offense, we're going to have to do it, keep scoring on defense and stuff like that.
No doubt. Well, your first chance will come against Villanova, who started off the year unranked, and then they hammered Colgate in week 0, and they've just been steadily climbing up the rankings ever since. I think they come into this week at number 18. Your house. What do you know about Villanova so far?
Villanova, their quarterback's solid. They got a good running back, good receiving core. But we, at the end of the day, we just treat every team the same, no matter what the ranking is. We really come out there like we playing the best team in the country every single week, because we don't feel like as we need to up our game for anybody. We start up there. We come out there playing at the best that we can play, no matter who the opponent is.
So I saw Coach Ambrose put a video out on the World Wide Web talking about they're going to black it out for the game, giving 1,000 free T-shirts away. No doubt will be a pretty cool environment for you guys. But can you talk to coach or the equipment people or whatever and get a shirt out to me in Austin? I'll wear it.
Yeah, definitely. I'll see what I can do. Definitely.
I appreciate that. Hey, man, best of luck this week and the rest of the way this year. I really appreciate your time. We obviously pull for Towson over here at Flo in Austin, Texas, and we'll be keeping a close eye on you guys on Saturday night.
Appreciate it.